The day before Christmas Eve, my dad spoke. The best gift would be if you disappeared from this family. The entire family fell silent, not a soul defended me. And I did precisely that. After selling the house I paid for and scrapping their dream holiday celebration, my message fixed to the fridge struck them speechless. Honestly, what would you do if your own father, at a family dinner, looked you in the eye and said the best Christmas gift would be if you just disappeared from the family? Would you break down? Fight back? Or would you do what I did and grant his wish in the most devastating way imaginable? It was December 23rd, 6 p.m., and 18 of my family members were all gathered in the Seattle mansion I'd secretly been keeping afloat. My father, the supposedly great Dr. Robert E. Field, stood up, wine glass in hand, and declared the best Christmas gift would be if Willow disappeared from this family entirely. The whole room went dead silent. And then, no one defended me. My brother, Michael, actually laughed. They had no idea, not a single clue, that they were applauding their own financial ruin. See, while they were busy mocking my useless tech career, I was the one paying $4,800 every single month for their utilities. I was covering Dad's missed mortgage payments. I was the cosigner on the very loan that kept a roof over their heads. Over 8 agonizing years, I'd poured over $500,000, $500,400 to be exact, into keeping their perfect world running. My name is Willow, I'm 32 years old, and tomorrow night, at the hospital's biggest gala, I was about to reveal something that would make my father wish he'd never, ever opened his mouth. The Efield name? Oh, it carries weight in Seattle's medical circles. We're talking 3 generations of doctors, all from prestigious institutions, all published in renowned journals. My grandfather? He pioneered cardiac surgery techniques still taught today. My father, Dr. Robert E. Field, the head of the surgical department at Seattle Grace Hospital. My brother, Michael, he just completed his neurosurgery residency, the golden boy. And then there was me, the black sheep, the family disappointment who dared to choose computer science over medicine. Every single Sunday dinner at our sprawling Queen and mansion felt like a masterclass in subtle humiliation. While Michael would be regaling everyone with his latest triumph, I'd just sit there, quiet, knowing that my work in healthcare AI, no matter how impactful, meant absolutely nothing to them. Willow plays with computers, my father would sneer, waving a dismissive hand. Not exactly saving lives, is it? The irony of it all, it burned. I'd been the cosigner on that very mortgage since 2016, back when Dad's malpractice settlement completely tanked his credit score. Without my pristine 790 FICO, he never would have qualified for that coveted 3.9% rate. But in his mind, cosigning? That wasn't real contribution. Neither was me paying every single utility bill, electricity, water, gas, internet, property taxes, HOA fees. Month after month, $4,800 just vanished from my account, all to keep their lights on, their heated floors warm, their infinity pools sparkling. Dad knew, of course. He even mentioned it once, so casually. Well, someone should contribute something since you're not carrying on the family legacy. As if nearly $500,000, $460,800 over 8 years, was pocket change. As if the 11 times I'd covered his forgotten mortgage payments, another $39,600, meant absolutely nothing. But the absolute worst part? How he'd introduce me at hospital events. This is Willow. She's in computers. That long, agonizing pause before computers, it hung in the air like a terminal diagnosis of failure. I documented everything, every single penny, in a spreadsheet I'd ironically named Family Support. Every payment, meticulously logged, dates, amounts, confirmation numbers. 8 years of financial devotion, reduced to cold, hard rows and columns that told a story no one wanted to hear. Total utilities and property costs, $460,800. Emergency mortgage coverage, $39,600. Combined contribution, a staggering $500,400. $500,000 that my father simply dismissed as token gestures. That spreadsheet, it became my secret comfort, my shield. During those torturous family gatherings, while Dad endlessly praised Michael's real accomplishments and my aunts cooed over his bright future, I'd mentally scroll through my PayPal receipts, my bank transfers, my auto payment confirmations. It was proof, evidence of a love, measured in dollars, that bought me absolutely nothing but dismissal. Then came Thanksgiving. Michael's promotion means he'll finally out-earn Willow, Dad announced, raising his wine glass with a flourish. Proof that medicine pays better than typing code. Michael, of course, smirked. At least my work requires actual skill, not just Googling solutions. And Mom actually laughed. Oh, Michael, be nice to your sister. Not everyone can handle the pressure of real responsibility. Real responsibility? I pulled up my banking app right there, under the table, staring at that morning's auto payment confirmation for $1,800 for December's house bills. Their champagne glasses sparkled under the very chandelier I paid to keep illuminated. That night, I added a new column to my spreadsheet. Its title? Recognition Received. It remained, as always, completely empty. What they didn't know, what I'd even hidden from myself, was that my typing code had just earned recognition from the one place Dad worshipped above all others, the Geneva Medical Innovation Summit. But I wasn't ready to process that yet. First, I just had to survive one more E-Field family Christmas. The 2024 family Christmas card arrived at my apartment on December 15th, gold embossed, professionally photographed on the mansion's grand staircase. Dad in his white coat, Mom in her pearls, Michael in his scrubs. The E-Field medical dynasty in all its supposed glory. I wasn't in it. Oh, we took it during your work trip, Mom explained, almost too quickly, when I called. Besides, your father thought it looked more balanced without you. Aesthetically speaking, of course. Balanced. As if my absence was just some aesthetic choice, not a deliberate erasure. I hung up, my heart sinking, and stared at that perfectly posed card, propped up right next to my laptop. The very laptop that had just received an email that would change everything. The sender? James Morrison, CEO of Technova Corporation. Subject line, confidential executive position discussion. My hands actually trembled as I opened it. Technova, the tech giant. An $8.2 billion market cap, whose medical division had just revolutionized diagnostic AI. They wanted to discuss their chief technology officer position with me. But that wasn't even the shocking part. The email's second paragraph made my breath catch in my throat. Your AI platform selection for the Geneva Gold Medal has confirmed what we suspected. You're the visionary we need. We'd like to formalize our offer before the public announcement at tomorrow's Seattle Grace Hospital Gala. The Geneva Gold Medal. The honor my father had chased for 30 years. The recognition that had eluded 3 generations of E-Field doctors. And I'd won it. With computer typing. The very thing they mocked. My phone buzzed then. A text from Dad. Don't forget dinner on the 23rd, 6 p.m. sharp. Extended family will be here. Try to dress appropriately and have something interesting to contribute for once. Something interesting to contribute. I looked at the Technova email again. Then at that family Christmas card, the one where my absence was an aesthetic improvement. James Morrison's follow-up email arrived within hours, marked urgent, time-sensitive offer. My heart raced as I read the details that would either completely liberate me or utterly destroy my last family connections. Position, Chief Technology Officer, Technova Corporation Medical Division. Base salary, $450,000 annually. Equity, 2% vested over 4 years, currently valued at $164 million. Start date, January 2nd, 2025. The deadline made my stomach clench. Please confirm by December 26th. We plan to announce your appointment at the Seattle Grace Hospital Christmas Gala on December 24th, where Technova will pledge our $50 million donation. I scrolled down to the final paragraph. Your AI platform has already saved 12,000 lives during our 6-month pilot program. This achievement, combined with your Geneva Gold Medal, makes you the ideal leader for our medical technology revolution. This role requires someone who values innovation over tradition. Exactly what your background suggests. Oh, the irony. Innovation over tradition. Everything my family despised. If I accepted this offer, I'd have to stand on that stage tomorrow night, in front of 500 medical professionals, and publicly embrace everything my father considered beneath the E-Field name. The daughter who abandoned medicine would become the highest paid executive in the room, leading the very company that controlled his hospital's future. If I declined, just to keep some semblance of family peace, I'd lose more than money. I'd lose the chance to prove that my work, the work they'd dismissed and belittled for 8 long years, had already saved more lives than my father's entire surgical career. Just then, my phone lit up with another family group text. Michael. Hope Willow remembers not to talk about coding at dinner tomorrow. Real accomplishments only. 17 relatives liked his message. 17. The stakes. They just crystallized. I opened my laptop, fingers trembling, and started researching what accepting Technova's offer truly meant. Article after article popped up, detailing the company's revolutionary impact on healthcare. Technova AI reduces diagnostic errors by 67%, shouted one headline from the New England Journal of Medicine. Revolutionary platform catches early-stage cancers doctors missed, boasted The Lancet. The future of medicine isn't human, declared Time magazine. Every single headline was the validation my family would never give me. But more importantly, the numbers. They told a story of lives transformed. Rural hospitals gaining world-class diagnostic capabilities. Underserved communities accessing premium healthcare through AI assistance. 12,000 people walking around today because my algorithm caught what human eyes missed. Then I found the Geneva Summit press release, embargoed until December 24th. The 2024 Geneva Gold Medal for Medical Innovation goes to Willow Efield for her groundbreaking diagnostic AI platform. This marks the first time in 40 years the award has gone to a non-physician. 40 years. My father had submitted papers to Geneva 8 times. 8 rejections. But accepting this? It meant more than professional triumph. It meant standing up at tomorrow's gala and essentially declaring, I chose technology over tradition. I chose innovation over your legacy. I chose myself over your approval. The family would see it as betrayal. The ultimate rejection of everything the Efield name stood for. Just then, my banking app notification popped up. Automatic payment scheduled for $1,800 to Efield Properties LLC. Tomorrow's house bills, processed like clockwork, while they plan their Christmas without me. I pulled up the cosigner agreement for Dad's mortgage. One phone call to Wells Fargo, and his rate would jump from 3.9% to 7.5%. His monthly payment would skyrocket from $3,600 to $5,200. Without my utility payments, he'd be facing $10,000 in monthly expenses. The power to utterly devastate them. It sat, coiled and ready, right in my hands. December 23rd, 6 p.m. I stood outside my childhood home, clutching a $300 bottle of wine I already knew they'd critique anyway. Through the frosted windows, warm, inviting light spilled onto the perfectly manicured lawn, a lawn I'd paid to maintain. 18 cars lined the circular driveway. The full Efield extended family had assembled. Inside, the interrogation began immediately. Still typing code, Willow? Aunt Helen asked, her voice dripping with sickly sweet condescension. Still saving lives, I responded quietly, meeting her gaze. Uncle Richard actually cackled. She thinks computers save lives, Robert. Where did this one get her delusions? From her mother's side, clearly, Dad said, earning chuckles around the room. My own father. The dining room was a shrine, honestly, showcasing all the family's medical degrees. Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Stanford. Gilded frames reflecting the chandelier light, the one I paid for. My MIT diploma? Not there. It never had been. Michael just got promoted to attending physician. Cousin Sarah gushed, youngest in Seattle Grace history. Following in Robert's footsteps beautifully, Grandmother Efield nodded approvingly. At least we have one child maintaining standards. Michael smirked at me across the table. Don't look so glum, Willow, Michael said, a venomous edge to his voice. Someone has to be the family cautionary tale about wasted potential. Speaking of waste, Dad interjected smoothly, Willow, are you still renting that cramped apartment? At your age, Michael owned his first condo. I've been busy paying for this house, I said quietly, my voice barely a whisper, but firm. Contributing to utilities isn't paying for the house, Willow, Dad scoffed, his face contorting. And co-signing was the least you could do, considering we raised you. The least I could do? My voice remained level somehow. 8 years. $500,000. Money isn't achievement. Dad's voice turned ice cold, cutting through the room. It's not legacy. It's not saving lives. You're right, I said, meeting his stare. It's not. Tomorrow, he'd learn what was $500,000. And what it truly meant. Aunt Helen laughed sharply. Don't exaggerate, dear. I pulled out my phone, right there at the table, opening the spreadsheet I'd practically memorized. Utilities, property taxes, HOA fees, I recited calmly. $4,800 monthly for 96 months. Plus 11 emergency mortgage payments when Dad forgot. Total, $500,400. Forgot? Dad's face turned bright red. Strategic payment delays for investment liquidity. Is that what we're calling it now? I asked, my voice steady, unwavering. The bank calls it delinquency. Michael slammed his wine glass down, a crash that echoed through the sudden tension. You think paying bills makes you special? No, I said, looking him dead in the eye. I think paying bills while being told I contribute nothing makes me. Done. Done. Mom finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. It means, Dad interrupted, already standing now, his voice booming, filling the room. That Willow thinks she can buy respect. That she can purchase her way into meaning something to this family. The room held its breath. You want to know what would make this Christmas perfect? Dad's eyes, cold and hard, locked onto mine. If you disappeared from this family entirely. Stop pretending you belong at this table. Stop embarrassing us with your presence at hospital events. Just stop. 18 people. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. My own mother. Not one single voice rose in my defense. Michael actually laughed, then declared, finally, someone said it. I stood up slowly, deliberately, placing my napkin on my untouched plate. You want me gone? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. The best gift you could give us, Dad confirmed, a cruel smile playing on his lips. Merry Christmas. Then I just walked out. I left my house keys right there on the hall table. Behind me, Uncle Richard started clapping. Slowly. Insidiously. Others joined in. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. James Morrison's text flashed, hoping for good news tomorrow. The medical world needs revolutionaries, not dynasties. With steady fingers, I typed back, I'll take the position. The family group chat exploded before I even reached my apartment. Michael, drama queen exit. Taking bets on how long before she comes crawling back. Cousin Sarah, give her 3 days max. Aunt Helen, your father's right, Willow, this victim complex is exhausting. And Mom, please don't make a scene at tomorrow's gala. Your father's reputation matters. His reputation? After telling me to disappear, she worried about his reputation? I sat in my car outside my apartment, engine running, the heat blasting against the December cold. My hands were shaking. I opened James Morrison's contact and hit call. Willow. His voice was warm, concerned. It's late. Everything okay? I'll take the position, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. But I need to know something. Tomorrow's announcement, my father will be there. Front row VIP table. He's being considered for hospital director. James paused. Is that a problem? No, I said, taking a deep breath. It's perfect. Actually. Technova, I continued, is the primary donor for Seattle Grace's new wing, right? $50 million. Our largest medical pledge ever. His tone shifted. Understanding dawned. Willow, what happened? My family just made it crystal clear I don't belong with them, I said, a bitter laugh escaping. Tomorrow, I'd like to show them where I do belong. I signed the DocuSign with my finger on the trackpad. The timestamp read 11:04 p.m. December 23rd. By tomorrow night, everything would change. My phone rang at 7 a.m. on December 24th, Dr. Patricia Hayes. Willow, I hope I'm not calling too early. Her voice carried an undertone I'd never heard from her before. Pure, unadulterated excitement. James Morrison told me the news. Congratulations on CTO. Thank you, Dr. Hayes. Patricia, please. We'll be working closely together. She paused, then I need you to know something. Before tonight, I was on the Geneva Selection Committee. I've read every submission your father ever sent. Competent work, but derivative. Yours? Revolutionary. My throat tightened. He didn't know I'd won. No, he doesn't, she confirmed, as if reading my mind. But he'll find out tonight. Along with something else. Her voice dropped, becoming conspiratorial. I've been documenting your platform's impact at our partner hospitals. 12,000 lives saved is actually conservative. The real number is closer to 15,000. 15,000. Every case tracked, verified, documented. I'll be presenting this data tonight, right after James announces your appointment. She paused again. Your father likes to quote his career statistics, doesn't he? For 1,000 successful surgeries over 30 years. You've quadrupled that, in 6 months. I stared at my apartment ceiling, trying to process it all. Why are you telling me this? Because for 8 years, Patricia's voice was firm now, I've watched Robert diminish your achievements while taking credit for a hospital wing he couldn't afford without your company's donation. Did you know he lists himself as the primary facilitator for the Technova partnership? What? Oh yes. On his director application, he claims his family connections and technology secured the funding. She laughed, a short, bitter sound. He means you, of course. The daughter he tells everyone is wasting her life. You rejected his director application? The board meets January 3rd. But between us? A director who publicly disowns the very innovation saving lives? Not exactly leadership material. Hey, before I dive back into this, I have to ask, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have accepted the CTO role and faced down your family's fury, or just kept quiet to try and maintain some kind of peace? Let me know in the comments below, I'm genuinely curious. Okay, back to the story. After ending that call with James, I opened my laptop to review the contract DocuSign had just sent. Every single detail felt surreal. Chief Technology Officer. Stock options worth more than my father's entire career earnings. A corner office overlooking Elliott Bay. But one email attachment, it made me stop breathing. Seattle Grace Donor Hierarchy 2024. Technova Corporation sat right there at the top. Primary benefactor, $50 million pledged. The entire new surgical wing would bear the Technova name. Every recovery room, every piece of equipment my father would use for the rest of his career would carry the logo of the company I'd now help lead. James had included a note. The hospital board requested you personally attend tomorrow's check presentation. They're particularly excited about implementing your AI diagnostic system hospital-wide. Dr. Patricia Hayes specifically asked if you'd consider joining their innovation committee. Patricia Hayes, the hospital director my father desperately wanted to impress for his promotion. Another email popped up, forwarded from James. The sender made my pulse race. Geneva Medical Summit Committee. It confirmed media outlets had been notified about tomorrow's embargo lift. The announcement of Miss Efield's Geneva Gold Medal would coincide with the gala event at 8 p.m. PS. Reuters, Associated Press, and Medical Innovation Quarterly had all confirmed coverage. The Seattle Times specifically requested an exclusive interview with Miss Efield about becoming the first non-physician recipient in 40 years. First non-physician in 40 years. My father had submitted 8 papers, 8 rejections. And I'd won it. With the work he called Playing with Computers. December 24th, 7 p.m. The grand ballroom at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel shimmered. Seattle's medical elite, all 500 of them, glittered in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos. Champagne flowed. Conversations buzzed about funding, research, and reputations. I walked in through the main doors, wearing a simple black dress and my MIT alumni pin, the only jewelry I truly needed. The hostess checked her list, a flicker of confusion crossing her face. Willow Efield, you're at Table 1. With Technova Corporation. Table 1. The primary sponsor table. Direct sight line to the stage. My father was holding court at Table 3, in the very important person medical staff section, surrounded by his surgical colleagues. He hadn't noticed me yet. Not a clue. Willow. James Morrison's voice cut through the polite hum of the crowd. He was 6 feet 2 inches, silver-haired, with a commanding presence that made heads turn. There's our newest executive. He guided me to Table 1, where Technova's C-suite sat alongside major shareholders. The placement wasn't subtle. Anyone who mattered would instantly notice the Efield daughter sitting with the hospital's biggest donors. Nervous? James asked quietly. No, I realized with a sudden, surprising calm. I'm ready. The lights dimmed for dinner service. Patricia Hayes took the podium for her opening remarks, welcoming guests, thanking donors. Then, she announced the keynote speaker. Please welcome Dr. Robert Efield, discussing 3 generations of medical excellence. Dad strode to the podium with practiced, arrogant confidence. The spotlight found him, bathing him in a warm glow, as he began the speech I'd heard versions of my entire life. The Efield legacy. The sacred calling of medicine. The importance of tradition. The Efield name has meant healing for 70 years, he proclaimed, his voice booming. My son, Michael, continues this proud tradition. No mention of me. Not a word. In a room where I sat at the sponsor table, the most prominent table, I remained utterly invisible to him. Medical excellence, my father continued, his voice resonating through the ballroom, cannot be replicated by machines or algorithms. It requires human intuition, generations of wisdom, the sacred trust between physician and patient. Several doctors in the audience nodded approvingly. But I saw others shift uncomfortably, knowing full well their own departments already relied heavily on AI diagnostics. My grandfather pioneered cardiac techniques still used today. I've performed over 4,000 successful surgeries. My son, Michael, just became the youngest attending physician in Seattle Grace history. Dad paused for dramatic effect. This is what legacy means. This is why medicine remains a calling, not merely a career. What about your daughter? A voice cut through the quiet from Table 7. A young resident I didn't recognize. Dad's jaw tightened, a muscle twitching. My daughter chose a different path. But isn't she? He cut him off, his tone dripping with dismissal. She works in technology. Some people prefer keyboards to scalpels. Less pressure, less responsibility, less impact. Nervous laughter rippled awkwardly through the crowd. James Morrison's hand briefly touched my arm, a silent gesture of support. Not everyone, Dad continued, warming to his theme, can handle the weight of life and death decisions. Some seek easier roads. Coding. Data entry. Digital busy work that machines will eventually replace anyway. Michael actually laughed audibly from Table 3, raising his champagne glass in a mock toast to my father's words. But tonight, Dad spread his arms magnanimously. We celebrate those who chose the harder path. Those who understood that true innovation comes from human hands, not artificial intelligence. The future of medicine, Dad concluded, completely oblivious, belongs to those brave enough to carry forward tradition, not those hiding behind screens pretending to contribute. The applause was polite, scattered. Half the room knew Technova's AI had transformed their departments. James Morrison rose from his chair, but before he could move, another voice pierced the awkward silence. Dr. Marcus Chin, from Pediatric Oncology. Dr. Efield, your daughter, isn't she the one who developed the diagnostic AI we've been using? Dad's brittle smile cracked. As I said, she works in technology. Basic programming. Basic. Dr. Chin persisted. The system caught 3 cases of pediatric leukemia we missed. That seems more than basic. Listen, Dad's voice sharpened, venomous. I'm sure my daughter's hobby projects have their place, but comparing data entry to actual medicine? That's insulting to every physician here. Hobby projects? Someone whispered at a nearby table. Michael stood up then, emboldened by wine and opportunity. My sister means well, but she's always been jealous of real doctors. This coding thing is just her way of trying to feel important. Mom actually chuckled, adding, we've tried to be patient with her need for attention. The room's discomfort was palpable. Servers stopped mid-pour. Patricia Hayes was already striding purposefully toward the stage. Perhaps, Dad said with a false, sickening magnanimity, we shouldn't waste time discussing those who couldn't cut it in medicine. Tonight is about celebrating those who could. That's when James Morrison's voice boomed across the ballroom. I'd like to address that statement. Every head snapped towards him. James commanded attention. Major CEO. Billions in market cap. The man whose company's name would soon grace their new wing. Dr. Efield speaks about those who couldn't cut it in medicine. James walked toward the stage, his steps deliberate, powerful. I'm curious if he knows that his daughter just won the Geneva Gold Medal for medical innovation. The sound Dad made wasn't quite a gasp. It was more like air leaving a punctured lung. That's impossible, he stammered, his face ashen. James just smiled, a slow, knowing smile. Patricia, would you like to share the verification? Can you even believe my father said all that about me in front of 500 people? But wait, the absolute best part is coming. If you're feeling that secondhand frustration, hit the like button right now and comment justice if you want to see how this plays out. Share this with anyone who's been underestimated by their own family. The revelation that's about to happen will blow your mind. James Morrison took the microphone with an air of CEO authority that made my father instinctively step backward. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for interrupting, but Technova Corporation has an announcement that can't wait. The screens around the ballroom flickered to life with the Technova logo. Tonight, we're not just pledging $50 million to Seattle Grace. We're introducing the architect of the medical revolution that made our success possible. Dad remained frozen at the podium's edge, his face draining of all color. 6 months ago, James continued, his voice calm, confident. We implemented an AI diagnostic platform that has transformed healthcare delivery across 47 hospitals. This platform has identified cancers at stage 0, predicted cardiac events weeks in advance, and caught rare diseases that would have killed patients within days. The screens shifted, displaying stunning data visualizations, survival rates, diagnostic accuracy, lives saved. 15,237 lives. James let the number hang in the air, a profound weight. That's not a projection. That's verified, documented reality. Each case peer-reviewed and confirmed. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Doctors actually pulled out their phones, checking their own department statistics. This platform just won the 2024 Geneva Gold Medal for medical innovation. The first time in 40 years it's gone to someone without a medical degree. James paused, his eyes finding mine across the room. Because sometimes the greatest medical breakthroughs come from those brave enough to think beyond tradition. My father's hand gripped the podium's edge, knuckles white. Please welcome Technova's new Chief Technology Officer, the mind behind this revolution, and yes, Dr. Robert Efield's daughter, Willow Efield. The spotlight swung. From my father, still frozen, to me, at table 1. 500 faces snapped in my direction. The silence was absolute. I stood slowly, my MIT pin catching the light, and began walking toward the stage. Each step felt like shedding 8 years of invisibility. The spotlight followed my path, through the ballroom. Past tables of surgeons who had dismissed me. Past relatives who'd mocked my choices. Past my brother, whose champagne glass now trembled in his hand. Willow Efield, James announced again, louder this time. Our new Chief Technology Officer. The words echoed off the ballroom's vaulted ceiling. Someone started clapping. Dr. Chin, from Pediatrics. Others joined slowly, uncertain, looking between me and my father, who stood statue still at the podium's edge. I climbed the 3 steps to the stage. Dad's eyes met mine. Confusion. Disbelief. And something else. Fear. He whispered, his voice catching in the hot mic, that's impossible. She's not, she can't be. James handed me the microphone with a subtle nod of encouragement. The weight of it felt right. Good evening, I said, my voice steady and clear, amplified through the room. Yes, I'm Robert Efield's daughter. The one who chose keyboards over scalpels. The one who couldn't handle real medicine. Michael had dropped into his chair, his face ash white. Mom's hand flew to cover her mouth. 12 hours ago, I continued, my gaze sweeping the room. My father told me the best Christmas gift would be if I disappeared from the family. 18 relatives applauded that suggestion. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I saw Patricia Hayes discreetly recording on her phone. So, I said, I'm honoring his wish. I'm disappearing from the Efield family legacy of traditional medicine. I turned to face my father directly, his eyes wide with a dawning horror. And appearing as the CTO of the company that will define medicine's future. The screens behind me lit up with the Geneva announcement, my name in bold letters beneath the gold medal image. Dad's legs seemed to give out. He gripped the podium to stay upright. I turned back to the audience, clicking the presentation remote James had discreetly handed me. The screens filled with data I knew by heart. This AI platform started as what my family called a hobby project. Something I worked on during the nights I wasn't paying their bills. The spreadsheet appeared briefly, $500,400 highlighted. But while I was covering the mortgage on a house I wasn't welcome in, I was also building something that would save lives they couldn't reach. The next slide showed before and after diagnostic rates from Seattle Grace's own departments. Radiology, 34% improvement in early detection. Oncology, 47% reduction in misdiagnosis. Emergency, 89% faster critical condition identification. I kept my voice professional, letting facts speak louder than emotion. 15,000 lives saved in 6 months. That's 83 lives per day. While my father performed 4,000 surgeries over 30 years, this platform saves that many every 7 weeks. Those are just numbers. Dad finally found his voice, though it cracked with desperation. Medicine is about human connection. You're right, I interrupted calmly. Which is why this platform doesn't replace doctors. It empowers them. It gives them time for human connection by handling data analysis in seconds instead of hours. Patricia Hayes had joined us on stage. If I may, she said, taking a second microphone. Dr. Efield, you've repeatedly dismissed your daughter's work as not real medicine. Yet, you listed yourself as the primary facilitator of Technova's donation on your director application. You claimed credit for the very innovation you're now denouncing. The crowd's murmur turned sharp. Board members exchanged pointed glances. Furthermore, Patricia continued, the Geneva Committee you've submitted to 8 times? They specifically noted that Willow's work represents the most significant medical advance since antibiotics. Dad's mouth opened and closed soundlessly, like a fish out of water. Patricia Hayes wasn't finished. The hospital director commanded the stage with an authority that made my father visibly shrink. Let me be crystal clear for everyone here, Patricia announced. Willow Efield's platform has reduced our mortality rate by 34%. The largest improvement in Seattle Grace's history. More effective than any surgical innovation, any pharmaceutical breakthrough, any traditional intervention we've implemented. She clicked to a new slide, showing department rankings. Every department using her AI system had seen unprecedented improvements. Every department resisting it, she paused meaningfully, has fallen behind national standards. My father's surgical department was highlighted in red, glaringly at the very bottom. The future of medicine isn't tradition versus technology, Patricia continued. It's embracing both. Something Miss Efield understood while others clung to outdated hierarchies. This is ridiculous. Michael suddenly shouted from the floor, his words slurring with whine and rage. She's not even a real doctor. She doesn't save lives. She types code. Mr. Efield. Patricia's voice turned ice cold, slicing through the room. Your sister's typing has saved more lives this month than you will in your entire career. Sit down. The rebuke echoed through the suddenly silent ballroom. Michael collapsed back into his chair. Patricia turned to me. Miss Efield, would you share your vision for Technova's partnership with Seattle Grace? I nodded, clicking to the final slide, architectural renderings of the new wing. The Technova Medical Innovation Center will integrate AI assistance into every aspect of patient care. We're not replacing the human touch. We're amplifying it. Doctors will have more time with patients, more accurate diagnostics, more lives saved. The board has already approved full implementation, Patricia added, looking pointedly at my father. Led by our new CTO. Not by those who denied her value. Excellence through innovation, not just tradition. The moment I stepped off the stage, the media descended. The Seattle Times, King 5 News, Medical Innovation Quarterly, all wanting the story of the surgeon's daughter who revolutionized medicine from outside its walls. Miss Efield, how does it feel to achieve what your father couldn't? Were you motivated by family rejection? Will you maintain any relationship with your family? I answered with measured professionalism, but my peripheral vision caught my father approaching through the throngs of reporters, his face desperate, pleading. Willow, we need to talk. His voice was barely a whisper over the excited din. We did talk, I replied calmly, not breaking eye contact with the journalist. Yesterday, you made your position clear. This is a misunderstanding, he stammered. Excuse me, Dr. Efield. James Morrison intercepted smoothly, stepping between us. Your daughter has interviews scheduled. Perhaps you could schedule time through her assistant after the holidays. Her assistant? Dad's voice cracked. She's my daughter. No. I finally turned to face him fully, my gaze unwavering. According to you, the best gift would be if I disappeared. I'm simply honoring your wishes. Professionally. The reporters were recording everything. Mom pushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her face. Willow, please. It's Christmas. Yes, it is. I pulled out my phone, holding it up, showing them the family group chat. The one you were all planning without me. Michael's message had 17 likes, remember. Board members were watching, their expressions grim. Patricia Hayes stood nearby, arms crossed, a flicker of satisfaction in her eyes. The house. Dad started, his voice hollow. We'll need new financial arrangements. I kept my voice level. I've covered $500,400 over 8 years. Consider it my graduation gift from the family that never wanted me. You can't just, I can. I am. My voice was steel. I've already notified Wells Fargo about removing myself as cosigner. Your rate adjustment letter should arrive by Monday. His face went gray. You're removing yourself as cosigner? Dad's voice pitched higher, panic breaking through his usual composure. Several board members stepped closer, sensing the raw, public drama unfolding. Effective January 1st. I pulled up the Wells Fargo email on my phone, holding it where the reporters could clearly see. Without my credit score, your rate jumps from 3.9% to 7.5%. That's $5,200 monthly instead of $3,600. You can't. That's financial blackmail. No, Dad. It's financial independence. Something you said I'd never achieve while playing with computers. I switched to my banking app. I'm also canceling the automatic payments for utilities, property taxes, HOA fees, and maintenance. That's another $4,800 monthly you'll need to cover. Michael stumbled over, his face flushed with alcohol and rage. You vindictive. Careful, Mr. Efield, Patricia Hayes warned, her voice cutting. You're speaking to Technova's CTO at a professional event. The board is watching. $10,000 monthly total, I continued calmly, ignoring Michael. The mortgage company has already been notified. They seemed very interested to learn that Dr. Robert Efield has been dependent on his daughter's charity for 8 years. Charity? Mom gasped, horrified. We're family. No, I said, looking at each of them in turn. My gaze lingered on my mother, my father, Michael. Family defends each other. Family celebrates success. Family doesn't applaud when someone says you should disappear. You made it clear I'm not family. I'm simply adjusting my finances accordingly. The Seattle Times reporter stepped forward, dictaphone in hand. Miss Efield, are you saying your father has been financially dependent on you while publicly dismissing your career? The documents speak for themselves, I replied, forwarding the spreadsheet to her email. 8 years of records, every payment documented. Dad's legs wobbled. A board member quickly offered him a chair. The best part. I added quietly, leaning into the microphone slightly. That cosigner clause was your addition, Dad. You insisted on it to get the lowest rate. Ironic, isn't it? James Morrison stepped to the microphone one final time, his CEO presence commanding immediate attention. Before we conclude tonight's announcements, there's one more matter. He clicked to a new slide showing Technova's donation terms. Our $50 million commitment comes with specific governance requirements. Dad, still slumped in the chair someone had provided, looked up sharply, his eyes wide. The AI Innovation Wing will operate under independent leadership, separate from traditional surgical departments. James's eyes found my father's. This ensures that progress isn't hindered by those who resist change. Additionally, Patricia Hayes took the microphone, a triumphant glint in her eyes. The hospital board has restructured our innovation committee. Effective immediately, it will be led by someone who understands both technology and medicine's future. Who? Dad's voice was barely a whisper. The committee specifically requested Miss Efield's guidance, Patricia announced, her voice ringing clear. She'll have direct oversight of all AI implementation, reporting to the board, not department heads. The implication was crystal clear. I would now have authority over my father's department's technology adoption. This is nepotism in reverse. Michael slurred, shouting again from the crowd. No, Mr. Efield, Patricia corrected sharply, her voice like ice. Nepotism was promoting you despite mediocre performance, because your father was department head. This is meritocracy. She pulled up Michael's performance reviews on the screen. A devastating move. Bottom quartile in diagnostics. Multiple patient complaints. 3 near misses this month alone. You can't show that publicly. Dad tried to stand, but wobbled violently. Actually, I can. Patricia's smile was sharp, predatory. Board transparency rules when addressing nepotism concerns. Your promotion is under review, Michael. We'll be investigating whether family connections influenced it. Mom was crying openly now. The family members who'd laughed at me yesterday were backing away, distancing themselves from the public humiliation. Merit, I said quietly, my voice cutting through the sudden silence. Not name. That's the future of medicine. December 25th, Christmas morning. And what a morning it was. The Seattle Times, front page, business section. Tech daughter saves medical dynasty, then cuts it off. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since midnight. LinkedIn notifications showed 50,000 new followers and counting. The Geneva announcement had gone viral on medical Twitter. Hashtag merit not nepotism was trending worldwide. The article was devastatingly thorough. Reporter Sarah Chin had done her homework, pulling public records, interviewing hospital staff, documenting every single claim. The photo they chose? It was that precise moment of revelation. Dad, gripping the podium, his face a mask of horror. Me, walking toward the stage, the crowd's faces a mosaic of shock. 8 years of financial support while being publicly dismissed, the article read. Documents show Willow Efield contributed over $500,000 to maintain the very household that excluded her from their Christmas celebrations. My email inbox exploded. Job offers poured in from Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Johns Hopkins. Speaking invitations from Harvard Medical School, Stanford, MIT. Every major medical AI company wanted partnerships. But the most telling responses came from other healthcare professionals. Finally, someone stood up to the old boys club. Your father dismissed my AI research proposal 3 times. Karma is beautiful. I'm a surgeon's daughter who became a nurse. He told me I couldn't hack real medicine. Thank you for this. The family group chat? It had gone silent after 37 missed calls from Dad, 23 from Mom, and 1 bitter text from Michael. You've ruined us. No, I thought, scrolling through the flood of opportunities. I've freed myself. Local news picked up the story by noon. Prominent surgeon's financial dependence on dismissed daughter exposed at charity gala. By evening, it had gone national. CNN, when family betrayal meets professional triumph, the Willow Efield story. Every share, every comment, every view, it was another crack in the Efield family facade. By December 26th, the family scramble had turned desperate. Dad's phone log showed 47 missed calls, 23 voicemails. They ranged from outright anger, Willow, this is cruel and unnecessary. Call me immediately, to pathetic pleading, the mortgage company called. You can't do this. Please. Your mother is devastated. I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? Mom's texts were masterpieces of guilt. How could you humiliate us like this? Christmas was ruined without you. Your father hasn't slept. Please come home so we can talk. Michael's emails? They progressed from pure rage to sheer panic. You vindictive witch. You've destroyed my career. The board is investigating my promotion. This is your fault. I could lose my license if they find Dad influenced the hiring. Please tell them it wasn't nepotism. Please. And the extended family? Suddenly, they all found my number. Aunt Helen, sweetheart, we always believed in you. Perhaps you could reconsider the co-signing. Uncle Richard, proud of your success, Willow. By the way, does Technova have openings? Cousin Sarah, girl boss, could you put in a word at the hospital for me? Even grandmother Efield, who hadn't called in 3 years, chimed in, darling, family forgives. Your father is suffering. But the most telling message came from their financial advisor, accidentally blind copied to me, Dr. Efield. Without Willow's support, you'll need to liquidate investments or sell the house within 90 days. The payment increase is unsustainable with your current obligations. Their dream home. Their status symbol. Their castle, built entirely on my silent support. I archived every single message without responding. They'd wanted me gone. They'd celebrated my erasure. Now, they were learning what my absence actually meant. Not just emotionally, but financially, professionally, socially. The reckoning they'd never imagined had arrived. January 3rd arrived with consequences as precise as surgical cuts. The hospital board meeting minutes were leaked within hours. Dad's director application? Denied. The reason cited made headlines in medical blogs, failure to demonstrate inclusive leadership and resistance to innovation adoption. Michael's situation was even worse. The investigation into his promotion revealed what everyone suspected: fast-tracked advancement, overlooked performance issues, preferential scheduling. His attending position was revoked. Demoted back to senior resident with mandatory performance improvement plans. This is your fault. Michael's voicemail screamed at me later. You destroyed everything. No, I thought, as I read Patricia Hayes' follow-up email. You destroyed yourselves. Patricia had written, the board was particularly concerned by Dr. Robert Efield's public dismissal of technology that saved 15,000 lives. How can someone lead a modern hospital while denying modern medicine? The dominoes kept falling. 3 pharmaceutical companies pulled Robert from their speaker rosters. His anti-AI stance was now a massive problem for their brand. The medical school canceled his guest lecture series. We need professors who embrace innovation, the coordinator explained in an email he'd blindly copied me on. His private practice referrals dropped 40% in 2 weeks. Patients were actively requesting doctors who used that AI system. The country club, where he'd bragged about his successful children, plural only when convenient, now had questions about his delayed membership dues. But the final, crushing blow came from Wells Fargo. Dear Dr. Efield, your request for rate modification has been denied due to insufficient credit score and debt-to-income ratio without cosigner. Payment of $5,200 begins February 1st. Additionally, review shows 11 late payments previously covered by cosigner. Account flagged for monitoring. The E-Field medical dynasty. 3 generations of prestige. It was crumbling. All because they dismissed the one person holding it together. All documented. All consequences of their own choices. All justice, delivered by cold, hard facts. My first day as CTO of Technova began on January 8th. I walked into a corner office overlooking Elliott Bay, with Seattle Grace Hospital visible in the distance. "Welcome aboard," James Morrison said, gesturing at the view. Poetic, isn't it? 200 engineers now reported directly to me. My assistant, Marcus, had already fielded 12 interview requests and 37 partnership proposals before 10 a.m. The Geneva Committee wants you as keynote for their 2025 summit, Marcus announced. They're calling it Medicine Beyond Tradition, the E-Field Revolution. The irony wasn't lost on me. At my first all-hands meeting, the team had decorated the conference room with congratulatory banners and a cake that read, "To saving lives without a scalpel." Your AI platform went live in 12 more hospitals this week, my engineering director reported. Current projection, 100,000 lives impacted by second quarter. 100,000. A number my father couldn't even fathom. The WHO partnership confirmation arrived that afternoon. We'd be deploying the platform in underserved countries, bringing advanced diagnostics to places traditional medicine couldn't even dream of reaching. "Miss E-Field," the WHO director said over video call, "your technology will democratize healthcare globally. This is medicine's future." At 4 p.m., looking out at Seattle Grace, I saw something that made me pause. An ambulance at the emergency entrance. Someone's worst day, potentially their last. Unless the AI caught something human eyes might miss. That's what mattered now. Not family approval. Not legacy. Not the E-Field name on a hospital wing. It was about lives saved, suffering prevented, hope delivered through the innovation they'd mocked. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "My rare cancer was caught by your platform. You saved my life. Thank you for not giving up." Despite those who doubted me. Despite the family who dismissed me because of this. 1 year later. Christmas morning, December 25th, 2025. I sat in my new Belltown penthouse, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise paint Mount Rainier gold. The family group chat, muted months ago, showed 847 unread messages. I opened it for the first time since last Christmas. The recent messages were revealing. "Mom, Willow, please. We're losing the house. Michael, can we at least talk? I'm struggling with resident salary. Dad, your mother wants you to know we're having Christmas at Aunt Helen's apartment. Apartment, not the mansion." I typed my first message in a year. "I see you're experiencing life without my support. This is not cruelty. It's consequence. You celebrated my erasure from the family. I simply honored your wishes. If you want to reconnect, here are my non-negotiable conditions. 1. Public acknowledgement of 8 years of financial support. 2. A written apology for the Christmas Eve dismissal. 3. Acknowledgement that my work has value equal to medicine. 4. A commitment to family and individual therapy. 5. Respect for my boundaries going forward. This isn't about money. It's about recognition, respect, and rebuilding on truth, not tradition. You have my terms. The choice is yours." I sent it and closed the app. Within minutes, my phone rang. "Mom." I let it go to voicemail. "Willow, sweetheart, those conditions, your father's pride. Can't we just forget everything and start over?" No. Starting over meant they'd learn nothing. Accountability came before absolution. Another call. "Dad." Also to voicemail. "This is extortion, Willow. Family doesn't have conditions. But apparently, family could tell you to disappear. Family could mock your career while taking your money. Family could erase you from photos while cashing your checks. That wasn't family. That was exploitation." February 2025. Dad showed up at Technova's headquarters, desperate enough to try ambushing me at work. "I need to see my daughter," he told reception, using his most authoritative surgeon voice. "I'm sorry, Dr. E-Field," the security guard replied professionally, "but you're not on Miss E-Field's approved visitor list. Would you like to leave a message?" I watched it all unfold on my office security monitor. He'd aged years and months. Gray stubble, wrinkled suit, the posture of defeat. This is ridiculous. I'm her father. "Sir, I'll need you to leave the premises, or I'll have to call building security." He left an envelope instead. Marcus brought it up an hour later. I opened it carefully. 2 pages of his precise surgeon's handwriting. "Willow, this is all a misunderstanding. You've taken things too personally. Yes, I said some things in frustration, but family forgives. Your mother cries daily. Michael's career is ruined. The house is in foreclosure. You've made your point. You're successful. We get it. Now come home and fix this. Your father. Not love, Dad. Just your father. No apology. No acknowledgement. No accountability. Just demands disguised as reconciliation." I had Marcus draft a formal response on Technova letterhead. Dr. Efield, your letter was received. It contains no apology, no acknowledgement of wrongdoing, and no acceptance of the conditions I outlined for reconnection. You state, I've taken things too personally. Telling me to disappear from the family was personal. Taking my financial support while denying my professional worth was personal. You want me to fix this? I did not break it. You did. With 18 witnesses who applauded. My conditions remain unchanged and non-negotiable. Willow Efield, Chief Technology Officer, Technova Corporation. He never responded directly, but legal papers arrived a week later, attempting to sue me for financial abandonment. His lawyer dropped the case after seeing the documentation. March 2025 brought an unexpected visitor. Mom came alone to Technova, waiting 6 hours in the lobby until I agreed to see her. She looked smaller somehow. Designer clothes replaced with simple department store finds. The pearls were gone, probably sold. Willow, she began, then stopped, tears already starting. I'm sorry. The words hung between us, fragile and long overdue. I should have defended you. That night, when Robert said those horrible things. I should have stood up. I was a coward. She pulled out a worn envelope. I wrote this letter 100 times. I read it slowly. 3 pages of real accountability. How she'd enabled Dad's dismissiveness. How she'd prioritized peace over truth. How she'd failed as a mother. I've started therapy, she continued. Individual. Not couples. Robert refuses to go. But I need to understand why I let this happen. Why I let him diminish you while you held us up. What about Dad and Michael? Michael blames you for everything. He's living with friends, drinking too much. Your father, she paused, her voice thick with a mix of sadness and resignation. He's moved into a studio apartment. Still insists he did nothing wrong. Still telling people you betrayed the family. And you? I asked. What do you tell people? The truth, she said, looking me in the eye. That my daughter is brilliant, generous, and deserved so much better than we gave her. That I'm proud of you. That I'm ashamed of myself. It was a start. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but a crack in the wall. Coffee, I said, finally. Once a month. Neutral location. You don't speak for Dad or Michael. You don't carry messages. You don't guilt trip. Just coffee. I'll take it, she whispered, relief flooding her face. It's more than I deserve. Maybe, I replied. But everyone deserves a chance to grow. Even mothers who've stayed silent too long. June 2025. 6 months after the gala that changed everything. My AI platform was now in 127 hospitals across 14 countries. The life counter on my office wall showed 1,031,470 lives impacted. By year's end, we'd cross 250,000. The Geneva Summit keynote had been standing room only. Medicine's future, beyond the Efield legacy, drew record attendance. I never mentioned my father by name, but everyone knew. Michael had texted once, hope you're happy. I'm working urgent care in Tacoma. I wasn't happy he was struggling, but I wasn't responsible for his choices either. Dad had given one interview to a medical blog, claiming I'd chosen success against family. The comments section absolutely destroyed him. Hundreds of healthcare workers sharing their own stories of dismissive senior physicians. He never gave another interview. Mom and I had our monthly coffees. Slowly, carefully, we were building something new. Not a daughter trying to earn love through payments. Not a mother enabling toxic dynamics. Just 2 women learning to see each other clearly. Your father asked me to give you this, she said at our latest meeting, sliding a card across the table. We agreed, I reminded her gently. No messages. I know, she sighed. I told him that. But, read it later. Or don't. Your choice. I opened it that night. A Christmas card. Inside, in his precise surgeon's handwriting, 3 words, I was wrong. No signature. It wasn't enough. Not nearly. But it was the first crack in his armor. The first admission that maybe, just maybe, the daughter who saved lives through code was worth as much as the surgeon who dismissed her. I filed it away and went back to my work. Tomorrow, my platform would save another 400 lives. That mattered more than 3 words from a man who needed to lose everything to write them. You know, they say success is the best revenge. But for me, it's more than that. Success isn't revenge. It's living well, truly living, despite those who doubted you. It's building a life that proves your worth, not to them, but to yourself. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you've ever been dismissed, overlooked, or belittled by the very people who should have supported you, please remember this. Your worth is never determined by their recognition. It comes from within. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever had a moment where you had to choose between your family's expectations and your own truth? What did you do? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories about setting healthy boundaries and finding success on your own terms, and share this with anyone who needs to hear that they are enough. You are. Believe it.